week, price is sitting at key areas across multiple pairs. And then we have clear liquidity on both sides of the markets. We have clear liquidity on the downside and on the upside of the market. So the focus this week is simple. Which side gets delivered first? That means the opposite becomes our point of attention. As always, we'll be starting with our US tech. We'll be looking at the dealing range. We are trading within this dealing range, which is the high at the 26 to 20.6 level, and its low is the 22,969 to there of 22,65 levels for the US tech dealing range. The question is, at this particular moment, where is price? Price is currently at a discount, and price was actually coming from the daily fair value gap. Price moved to the daily fair value gap and was coming from the daily fair value gap. This is where we are at the moment at this level. So the question is where the likelihood price we could go to. We are looking at price to get a little bit lower. So the drawn liquidity is lower. And first, we are targeting the daily and the weekly low, which is this level, the 22,965 level. As you can see, we've already mapped out those zones. The daily low, which is also a weekly low, at the 22,965 level, which is also an external range low for the daily range we are watching. And if price continues down for Nasdaq, the next target we are looking at the 22,65 levels, and then that the next will be the monthly fair value gap imbalances, which is the 22,370 to the 22,805 levels, which is a monthly key level if price continues down. But first, our target will be the daily lows and the old weekly lows at the 22,960 level as we've mapped out. The other ones is a continuation if price continue to go down. But then if price is moving on the upside, which areas, where are the places we are looking at on the upside? First, we have a fair value gap on the 4H is a gap, which is between the 421 entry level at level you can see that's been mapped out, and that of the 23,639.9 levels. And the next after that will be a previous week high, and also which also in line with a daily order block at the level of 23,761 levels for the Nasdaq. These are the areas we keep our eyes if price started to go upside first. If price started to go down first, then the areas we've called previously becomes the areas we are keeping our eyes for draw on liquidity. But as price started to go up first, then we look at those areas on the upside that we've mapped out for the draw on liquidity. So again, whichever side price trade first into will give us the direction that the opposite will be the next. But these are the areas we are looking at on Nasdaq this week. They are the key areas where draw on liquidity are likely to be. Price will be seeking those areas for Nasdaq, the upside and the downside that we've already mapped out, as you can see on your charts. Then moving next to the next, which is the pound, the British pound USD. So price currently is trading at the discount within our dealing range. Our weekly dealing range is still on this level, as you can see. So we are using the high of the week at the 37.34, that's 1.3734 levels, and the low, which is the 30.15 levels. Those are our daily range for British pound USD. Where was price coming from? Price took out old daily highs as of last week before started to drop down. So it took out the old high of the daily, Now the price is drawing likelihood to draw lower. So the question is, what next will price be seeking? It might be seeking liquidity on the downside. So which targets on the downside are we looking at for price? First, the 1.32 460 levels, then the weekly lows, which is the 1.3219 levels. And if price decided to continue to go down after taking out those lows, we'll be watching the weekly order block, which falls at this level, the 1.3174 level. If a continuation continues, the next target will be the monthly fair value gap, which price has reacted before on. It might repeat the same level again. That's the 1.3139 level, which is a monthly order block. Then looking on the upside, which side is our draw on liquidity? Which areas are we looking at price? Price run in 2 weeks. It might react to a particular point and then be drawn to the other side of the market, but it always react to a particular point. So to the upside, we have a previous week highs between the 1.33331, that's 33.31, to that of 33.47. Those are the areas we're looking at price. And if continue a little bit higher, it might get to the daily fair value gap, which lies at this level, the 33.58 level. That's for British pound upside. And the downside, we've mapped out those levels to keep your eyes on. Again, we'll let price decide which side to go to first, the down or the upside. And remember, the month will be ending between Tuesday, so price might likely get down, closing the month, and then continue to go up. But then we watch and see what happens, whichever liquidity takes first. That's it. The next one we are moving on to, let's get to Euro USD. At the moment, Euro is trading within the discount, also within the weekly range of the high 1.1928 and the low 1.1394 level. As we've already mapped out, that's our daily range for Euro USD. The question now is, where was price coming out from on Euro USD? So on the daily time frame, price was coming from a daily order block, which price reacted to as at last week and started to move down. And this is where it becomes more interesting for Euro USD. So we can see if price continues lower, we'll be looking at a draw to this level, the 1.1485 and thereof the 1.1445, and peradventure into the weekly lows between the 1.1413 and the 1.1394 levels are the areas we are looking at Euro USD. But then Euro USD is sitting at this moment in a very important level, the monthly level. It took out liquidity on the monthly level. And like I said, the month has not closed yet. The question is, will price continue to go down to take out this liquidity we called out on the daily and the weekly lows? Or will this level holds at this moment throughout the week? So if the level holds for Euro USD, then we keep our eyes on this particular level, on the monthly levels. But the upside, we have the previous week highs around the 1.1547 levels is a previous week high that price might get to before continue to go down, or going down before continue to go up. Then a 4 hedge order block at the 1558 level. The next will be a daily fair value gap between the 115.48 and the 15.15. If it continues to the upside, then we get to a daily order block, the 15.72 level. So here we are watching closely for which side gets taken first for Euro USD. Like I said, price is sitting at a monthly important key level, and liquidity has been run on that monthly key level. With that level holds, will it get back to take the other liquidities before continue to go up, or would price reverse at this moment? the week will let us know what happens next. But keep your eyes on this level that we've cut out on Euro USD. So moving on to the British Pound JPY is trading at the moment at the premium within our dealing range. And our dealing range, the high is still on the 214.98, while the down or the low of the range is 207.27 levels. So price, actually, the question is, where was price coming out from? Price was coming from a daily order block low, which it reacted to, and the draw on liquidity is higher, and price tapped into the high as of last week a little bit and returning back to a new order block low that price has created. So our target on the upside for British Pound JPY, first we are looking at price to run liquidity between the daily highs 213.30 and 213.86 level. If it continues, the next will be the 214.50 levels, which seems to be a gap and order block. And if those levels are being taken out, the next potential level will be the weekly highs at the 214.98 levels for the British Pound JPY. But to the downside, where are we looking at? Where are we looking at on the downside for price to get to? First, we have a daily order block at a 212.40 levels, and peradventure the previous week low, the 212.23 levels. That's it for the British Pound JPY. Like I said again, we let price delivered into the liquidity and see what happens there. But those liquidities and the draw has been mapped both for the upside and for the downside. No excuses. So the last pair we're going to be looking at today will be the USD JPY. At the moment, price is trading at premium also on the USD JPY and within the weekly daily range, which it took out the previous week external range liquidity, seeking next to the monthly external range liquidity to the upside. So with the weekly lows at 1.52.31 and price now pushing towards monthly highs, as you can see. The question is, where is our draw on liquidity, or where are we looking at price to get to? We are looking at price to probably get up higher into the daily fair value gap and order block between the 161.14 and the 161.30. And if it continues to go high, if pricing reverse at that point, the potentially will be the monthly high, which is at this level, the 161.98 level. However, we might actually see a reaction around the 160, this area, the 160.29 to 160.50, which is an old swing level point. And also a little above it, we have a fair value gap, we have an order block a little above those areas. So if price didn't react or reverse at that point, that means we press higher to the level we've mapped out higher. So to the downside, which areas are we focusing on looking at for liquidity? We have liquidity at the 159, this level, 0.71, and also a daily fair value gap between the 159.28 to that of 159.19. So for USD JPY, again, whichever side gets first taken will define the next direction for USD JPY. So as you can see across all pairs, we will say that the narrative remains the same. Market moves from liquidity to liquidity. That the market is always seeking to be drawn to a particular thing, either rebalances itself or seek to run out liquidity. So it moves from liquidity to liquidity. It is not random. What we do here, we identify the range, we track the liquidity, and we follow the draw on liquidity. Like always, it's structure over speculation. We don't speculate. We map structure first.